Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial for the Battalion development kit. In this video we're just going to start looking at how to make a mod from scratch. So first let's open up the tools. As said in a previous video, you just have to launch this from the Epic Games launcher. I'm recording it before we released, so I have to do it from there. Okay, so the first thing you'll see is the wizard that will pop up, unless you've already unticked show on startup down there. And this is kind of where you want to set up your mod the first time, where you want to give it a name, author, description, etc. Now there's a difference between, for example, naming it test mod, not mod, and clicking create mod, or having that selected then clicking create mod. Having this selected will include a template map. Now when we create our mod throughout the next couple of videos, we'll do it completely from scratch without having this selected. But just to show you what the flow is like when you do have this selected, if I have it there and create mod, it will create this folder here, which is this, and we can see that if we go into the mods, we've got some sub-levels, one for each of the game modes. So we put game mode specific actors on each one of these sub-levels, and this is our main persistent map. Now the first thing to note is that if you make sure that levels is ticked, and you can see this levels window over here, that you have added those sub-levels as existing levels. So we're going to do that. You can leave them with the little blue dot there, which means that they'll be loaded by a blueprint or by code in our case. And you want to make sure that you've double clicked on bomb mode. Right, so I'm going to click save all, because this template not only lacks a slight configuration here with the levels, but it also lacks the correct blueprints for bomb mode to work. Now this is kind of a bit of a weird complex edge case. We were obviously hoping to have it so it was a one click and you could export or package the mod and be good to go straight away, but sadly we do need to do a little bit of extra work here. So you can see in the blueprints folder in the example mod that we saw earlier, if we open up the blueprints, and we can see that we've got a crate stack, which is usually the mesh that we use for sites in Wartide, and then we've got the relevant zones or sites, kind of areas where you can plant the bomb and defuse it. These need to be copied over, and I'd recommend copying over the map beacon and the sky sphere too. Sky sphere will just get you a nice sky, and the map beacon will help us set up the mini map later. You can set these up from scratch in your project, but it probably a bit unnecessary at the minute. So if we create a folder called blueprints and we dive over here, we can select all of the ones that we need, and we can simply drag over into blueprints and click copy here. Great, so now if we go over here, we can see back into the test mod content folder, we can see in blueprints, and we've got the ones that we copied in. So I'm just going to save all. Again, I'm going to make sure I've double clicked on the bomb mode sub level here, and then I'm good to start dragging in the things I want only for bomb mode. So I can drag in my site. Obviously you'd want to be able to scale it up and probably put it around a mesh, for example, like this. But for now we're just going to be a bit rough about it, and I just put it in like so. And I mean, that's quite a big one there, but there we go. Alright, and that should be good to go. So if we save all, the map does already have the bomb spawner in it, which I think if we go to the world outliner and say only in current level, there it is, all the way on the other side of the map, and that will just spawn the bomb for the allies at the beginning of the game. Okay, so next thing we want to test that it works. So if you go to settings and then make sure world select settings selected, it'll appear over here. And with Wartide game mode, we should just be able to click play. Alright, cool. Now you notice that there's a fair few things missing. That's because we had to rip out various things for us to ship the project for you to work with, but you can test speed. If I hold shift, it will walk as if you're, well, it'll be at the speed as if you're running, and then you should be able to go in as if you're going to plant the bomb. Let's see, might need to be in the actual game for us to actually plant the bomb, but yeah, good to go. Alright, if we wanted to check out CTF, for example, press play, and then we've got defend and capture. A similar setup. Okay, cool. So from then on, you would be good to continue to maybe edit this map and change it to how you want it to be, and start to build out your own mod. But we'll start completely from scratch, just because it helps us kind of learn all the steps that are involved, create all the right assets, and yeah, generally just start from the beginning. So I guess now we'll just go to create mod, and I'm going to call this Kev's really cool mod. Maybe Kev's mod. This could get quite frustrating to keep saying, but it is really cool just for the record. Okay, and put in your name and etc. I won't fill out the rest, but yeah, that's what you could do. So I'm not going to select that. I'm just going to have a completely empty folder. Great. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a folder called maps. I'm going to create that folder called blueprints that we saw earlier. I'm going to copy over those blueprints that same as we did earlier. Copy. Alright. And then in maps, I'm going to go File, New Level, and I'm going to go with, let's go with an empty level. Is that right? Is that what we want to do? Yeah. Okay. And we'll go Save Selected, and then we'll go Save Current, and then in our Kev's mod, go to Maps, and I'll just call it Kev's mod _ map. Oh, we've got Howard playing Battalion, probably trying to get good. We'll see. Will that ever happen? We don't know. Alright, Kev's mod _ map. Okay, cool. Right, now we're going to create those sublevels. So I'm just going to create another folder in here. Sublevels. And I'm going to just copy and paste this naming so I don't have to keep making that. I'm going to go new level, empty level, save level, sublevels, and then underscore, I think it's DOM mode. Oh man, it's been a while since I've done it. Let's check that we're going to do it right. Alright, so it's just DOM CTF or BOM. Great, okay. So let's go back to sublevels. Great. I think it was capitals, wasn't it? There we go. DOM. And then we'll go new level again. And paste that in, underscore BOM. And then new level, finally, save current, CTF. Great, so we've got all those set up. Now we'll go to our main map. I will save those things, yep. Go to our levels, add existing, make sure I've added all those. Great. So I'm just going to double click on my persistent level there, go to my world outliner, make sure we still got that text so we don't get confused. Click Save All. Alright. Okay, so maybe the first thing we should do is put in that sky situation. So if we drag that in, get a nice orange sky, and let's add in maybe a floor. So we could add a cube, maybe, or maybe a BSP actually is probably a good thing to do. We'll definitely go over this in the next tutorial a bit more, but go to geometry, complete a box. We can set that up to be in the middle. I think we can actually right click on this. Okay. Manually set that to all zeros, and we can just scale that up for now. Be quite big. Oh wait, my bad, sorry. I don't do this too often, but instead we'll use the brush settings there. There we go. Cool, I made it very big. Right, so if I click save, other things we might want to do, add a quick skylight in there. Oh, that's very red though. Let's see, can we change? We can maybe brightness. We can change. Oh, no, we don't want that. Can change our intensity. Certainly don't want red. We could add in a directional light as well. And I guess just we'll have to play around with it. Maybe use temperature, would that help? There we go, we can kind of get it a bit bluer. We'll have a sunny world for now. Okay, let's click our sky, and I can make the sun maybe a bit higher. There we go. Okay, cool. I think that red's really going to frustrate me. Let's see if we can. Oh, that was our directional light, wasn't it? Let's go back to our skylight. Okay, well, this is the programmer in me coming through. I don't do that much, but there we go. I think we got rid of a little bit of it. Okay, so next thing, let's set up our modes again. So I'm going to double click on that bomb. We're going to put in our site here just to check that that works. Put in a site here. I'm going to put a little crate stack next to it just so I can remember where they are. Okay, and other things we might want are, if you type in up here in all classes, we type bomb mode bomb spawn. That'll be where that spawns. We could try and do this bit properly actually. If we say that our allies will spawn over here and our axis will spawn over here, we can kind of very quickly show you how that comes together. So we could go with Battalion player spawn. Could put that over here. See, it says bad size. Usually that's because it's intersecting. See how it's gone away now. And we can say that's an initial spawn. And that means that, for example, in Wartide, we would have a sort of an initial phase where everyone spawns at the sites, and then that's it. But then, for example, in TDM or CTF or DOM, you would all want to spawn at those sites at the beginning, but then later on you would spawn in other places. So for now, we're just going to define these initial spawns here. We're going to put 3 there. Obviously, you want to put probably a lot more in yours. And then we could put another set over here. Bring that up. There we go. Can rotate it around. And then I'm going to make sure this one says Team 1 on it, and is also going to say an initial spawn. And set 3 there too. I get those. Well, none of these were pointing the right way, so I should be able to. If I try and rotate them, it might do. Yeah, okay. So we have to do them individually. There we go. And finally, this one. Okay, great. So for those TDM modes, we can put in one over here, and we're going to leave initial spawn as unticked, and just going to put another one over here. Okay, cool. It's not completely even, but we're just trying to get the basics down here. Okay, and next let's put in some DOM zones. So when we're playing this mode in domination, I'm going to put one over there. Obviously you can tweak the radius there, so you can get a radius helper, and you can change the size of that depending on if you want people to have to get real close to capture the point. And if we go back up there, we can actually give it a zone name. So I'm going to call it A. And oh, actually I did jump ahead there. Let's delete this. We're going to double click on the DOM sublevel now, then add our zone location. I'm actually just going to put 3 across the map, and I'm going to make that one be C, this one be B, and then make that one A. If I can select it. There we go. Great. So we just have CTF to go now. So if I double click on the CTF sublevel, and we have our site over here. So I search for CTF, and I can put that there. Team Allegiance 1. So axis is always 0, and then the other side will be 1. And down here, I'm going to put another one here, and that'll be 0. Great. So I think that's everything. Let's have a quick think. Yes, so there's one more thing, and that is in our maps. We've got our main one loaded, but I'm going to double click on the persistent level, and then in blueprints, go to open level blueprint, and that's popped up over here. If I drag that over, we need to reparent blueprint, and if you select battalion base level, you'll notice that you get an extra property over here for team nations. So we can set up our map to be US versus German, or US versus Russian, Russian versus German, if you really want it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as US and German for now, and I'm going to try and think to see if we've forgotten anything. I think that's everything. Okay, so I click save all. I'm going to go to world settings, details, and world settings, and look at our game mode here. And I think we'll try TDM first. So let's do that. If I press play. Great. So not really much to see at all. It wouldn't have loaded the bomb zone kind of ammo boxes, ammo crates. So yep, pretty much a bit of a boring mode, that one. And then we've got CTF. Press play on that. Oh, I think we were supposed to see. This likely means that I've named this wrong. Let's have a look. Because when you play, you should see this come up and load the correct maps. So maybe those of you who were eagle-eyed noticed I got it wrong all the way at the beginning. So if we go through and rename, just add the mode at the end. And get spelled. There we go. Okay. There we go. And then we'll just add it onto the end of this one. Great. Okay. Save all. See how it's updated there now. And then when I click play, right, cool. We've got our CTF flags. And let's see. Can I capture it? I can. Great. As I said before, the functionality is kind of brought back a little bit for the editors. So as you can hear, we can capture a point. Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. So now let's go to DOM. So like so. Great.
We're capturing B.
Oh, and I'm already capturing a flag. There we go. So possibly a bit of a bad spawn placement there, but you get the idea. Cool. And last but not least, let's go to Wartide. There we go. So you can see the markers where we put down the zones, but more importantly, maybe you can see the disconnect between the mesh and the zone. This means that you can get quite creative, and you can having those two things separate means that you're not reliant on one or the other, and there's no constraints there. You can kind of go nuts on your sites and get creative with it. And we've got the bomb being spawned there. Great. Okay, so I think that's everything we wanted to cover in this one. We'll take the Kev's mod and build it out in the next couple of videos. I think next we'll try and get a bit more creative with importing assets and looking at lighting and maybe a bit more BSP things. But yeah, cool. See you then.